Hello and welcome to The Quest on Rajya Sabha Television. I'm Rakhee Bakshee. This show gives you a deep insight into the life, career and vision of a leading personality. The personality this week, this time, is Minister of State for External Affairs, Mrs. Preneet Kaur. Welcome to the show, ma'am, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We are talking to Maharani of Patiala. But tell us about this whole royal background that you grew up in.
Well, hate to disappoint you, but I didn't grow up in a royal background.
Okay.
My father was an ICS officer, so I really grew up in a service background.
Okay.
And mainly the time was spent as a student in a convent, because in those days schools, their transfers used to take place, so we were just put into boarding schools. And I got married in October '64. So that was the first time I came into this family. And I think that it's been very nice being with them. They're very down to earth, very, I did not see hands-on approach. I did not see what the fairy tales of the royals are.
Okay, but somebody maybe who, dreamt, let's say, when you were in college, of a career maybe, was it something different than what you today opted for? Or it came to you rather?
Absolutely. I had no clue. I think when I was in college, we were probably not as savvy or worldly wise as the children are today because of all the media and the exposure. And certainly I knew nothing about politics. My father was in the civil service and we were just exposed to very little.
Different kind of
very
lifestyle.
Different kind of lifestyle.
So how was it all like, ma'am, when you got elected and, you became represented Patiala and for a very long time now?
Yes, it's almost the completion of the third term back to back. But my husband's family, with their background, was obviously very entrenched in the area and into the political system. My mother-in-law was a member of Parliament. After I got married, my father-in-law became a member of the Punjab Assembly. And so the introduction into politics had begun.
Would you say it was easier then to get entry?
Well, maybe I really didn't think about getting an entry myself into local politics, because then my husband entered politics. And what started off when you're very young and somebody goes in, you're very enthusiastic, you feel you can change the world and all that kind of thing.
You are moving around now in the world, which we are proud of.
So very enthusiastically I got involved in my husband's campaigns. And I think I must have fought, he fought 3 MP elections and about 3 MLA elections, or 4 of them, before it came to my turn to fight an election. So I was entrenched in the system of
You were exposed
campaigning.
also.
I was exposed by that time.
Okay. And you have, in fact, recently also said that, women politicians, you've talked about it, should be accepted on their own right. So how strongly you feel about more women coming to politics?
I certainly feel very strongly about it, because I feel that women are very dedicated to whatever they take up.
We agree.
And we go into the little nuances and are more sensitive to the issues, whether it's male or female, and more especially to the female. And we are almost 50%, and we are the people who help to shape our children, male and female, who are the future of the country. So certainly I feel that we can play a great role in
but still we are waiting for a bill which is about women's
We are still
space.
waiting, and we will not give up. We hope that one day it will come. We are very happy at the representation that has come up in the local panchayat level, the village level, block samati, zilla parshad, and also in the local bodies.
Can you say that for Punjab, the state you belong to?
Yes, I think it's across the board. They are women. There is still a little gender, this thing, because men haven't got used to the idea of women taking over. And when there's no option and the seat is a woman's seat, then the man puts his wife up. So he actually gets her elected. She is not really into the system. But I think it's a beginning, and the women then do, because they have to attend the meetings. They have to know. And I think it's a very good thing that's happened, because then they will learn to take their natural place also.
Do you say times are changing? Because you talked also about representation, for example, in a ministry which is exposed to the global world, for example. So do you feel that, again, you have said that it's not about gender, but maybe women, because they're more efficient, so you think there is more space for, let's say, women in diplomacy?
Well, I won't say we are more efficient, but we are, let's say, equally efficient.
Okay.
We want to be equal.
Let men be relieved.
No, of course, I mean, since I've been in this ministry, as I said in my interview, the two foreign secretaries that I've dealt with, I'm now the second one, but one, when I came in straight away, Nirupama Roy was the foreign secretary, which was very nice. And now after Mr. Mathai, Sujata has taken over. And I must say that I have seen that women diplomats in very, very difficult situations, which I think besides being physically dangerous, have been diplomatically and otherwise very challenging and difficult, have really been, I've seen in my tenure, handled by women diplomats, such as Libya, and extraditions, and I mean they have been honored also by.
And what's your personal experience? You are handling so much, and you've taken on in the ministry one of the few lady ministers in the ministry, I would say, which is a very good thing. So
I am the only lady between the three ministers. We have Salman, and we have our Minister of State from Kerala,
Mr. Ahmed.
Mr. Ahmed, and myself.
So how is it?
I have to say I've enjoyed this ministry very much. It's been a great learning experience. It's a completely different perspective from what you have when you're domestically dealing with things.
I mean, do you think that there are certain more elements that is required, let's say, of a lady minister in this particular ministry? Do you think it's different from others?
No, I don't think so, because there are a lot of lady ministers, diplomats all over the world. So I think it's an accepted fact, and you certainly, we may have the advantage of being treated slightly better because you're a woman.
That's nice.
But I think by and large, there's not much of a difference made, and it's very nice to go out.
So cozy roads ahead, but right now we are of course taking a very short break. You're watching The Quest, and we are talking to Mrs. Preneet Kaur. Don't go away. Keep watching this very interesting conversation with her. Welcome back to the show. You're watching The Quest, and we are talking to Mrs. Preneet Kaur. Coming to issues that are involved regarding India and other nations, of course the most important is our relation with Pakistan. How currently are we dealing with it? Because we are seeing all these problems that are there at line of control.
I think this is a very complex issue, but the foremost thing for us really is to see that we have a peaceful and friendly neighborhood. So efforts will carry on. I think nothing has ever been achieved unless there has been a dialogue. The level of the dialogue, as far as diplomatic ties go, bilateral ties go, depends. You have to begin from somewhere and then take it up to the highest level.
But what exactly became worrying was, all these problems about ceasefire violations, because we agreed on something. And especially when the two leaders, I mean, the head of our nation, Prime Minister and Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif met and also kind of came to certain terms. How do you think we are actually, again, going?
I think the intentions are good. There's the question of building up a trust deficit that came. And of course, time and time again, the Prime Minister and everybody has reiterated that there can really be no full comprehensive dialogue until there's a complete assurance and something concrete on the ground about the non-state players which exist and have this terrorist camps over there.
No, why I'm asking you this question right now, ma'am, because after all this and after all this expectation also, we see every day these news, of course, coming in, also some firing at the border, LOC, which kind of creates a sense of panic somehow.
I don't think we really need to panic. These incidents have happened off and on. What is distressing is that how they carried out some of these incidents, like the beheading of our soldiers, the infiltration of terrorists in or whatever. This is distressing, this is worrying. It's something that has to be dealt with. And if there is a willingness on the part of our neighbors, because our Prime Minister has always reiterated he'll go the extra mile, I think it would be beneficial to both sides. So at some level, some doors have to be opened, some dialogue has to be done. After the Mumbai attacks, of course, that resumed dialogue that had gone to quite a height completely went down. So the trust deficit building started all over again. And I think we'll have to carry on at it at whatever pace the two countries feel, and what we feel is in our national interest, in our national security interest. We will do it.
Like, for example, also cross-border terrorism, a process, a thing that India believes in strongly. At the global level, India has been condemning terrorism at all levels. So regarding the neighbors, of course, and in general, how would you look at India's whole effort?
Well, the biggest effort is we do take it up at every bilateral level. I take it up, everybody else takes it up. But we have already taken it up in the UN, which is the highest world body, and we are wanting to move a resolution against this terrorist movement, and we are gathering a lot of support, and we would like it passed.
Sure, ma'am. Coming down to some other countries, of course, what's happening in Syria is also disturbing us. How India is actually dealing with it?
Well, it is very disturbing when things like this happen, because there's a ripple effect all over the world. It doesn't get confined to just one country. However, India's maintained policy has been that we would like them to settle their disputes internally without any outside pressure or action, because eventually they have to live amongst themselves. We would like the dispute for them to settle over talks internally.
Don't you think it's a little complex in terms of what US's designs are?
And we certainly go with what the Geneva Convention will be, with what the UN has stated. We are fully on board with that.
Okay. Coming on to some other neighbors, in Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka again is a neighboring country, but there are problems we know about. So how exactly are we going ahead? There is this meeting of Chogam which is nearby. What would you say about it?
Well, certainly we are a part of the Commonwealth. We are a contributing part of the Commonwealth, and for us it's a very important organization. Our Secretary General is also from India, Mr. Sharma, and however, we are also sensitive to our domestic concerns, and I think a final decision is going to be taken. I think except for Canada, there hasn't been anybody else. This was a decision to hold it in Sri Lanka, where everyone was present. It was a joint collective decision. So that has to be honored, but how and at what level and who takes part, I think that's a decision yet to be taken.
And also about the resolution, actually. So,
yes.
Yeah. Another country which our foreign secretary is visiting, Maldives, which we really want peace out there. So what's going on there? What do we really expect?
Well, Maldives, we have always had very good relations with. It's unfortunate that they've had this. We would like that they have a peaceful election and have a democratically elected parliament, which can deal with the problems that are there.
Ma'am, since you belong to the state of Punjab, sometimes there is this issue, this whole turban issue, for example, came up. Things like this, when something which is supposed to be locally something which can flare up things and happens abroad. How do you think such situation should be dealt with?
I think we're dealing with it very well, and it should not be made into a political issue. It is an issue. I'm a Sikh myself, and for us our greatest pride is our being, which is represented physically with a turban.
Yeah,
for
this
the
whole
men.
identity.
The whole identity crisis is there. Now, with the terrorism and so many other concerns, every country has its own laws and rules. We have tried, we have actually got down to explaining the issue with the countries, especially France, Italy. These are the major places where these incidents have taken place, and it has been banned in schools and things like that. I personally spoke to Mr. Hollande. I met our foreign minister, spoke with the foreign minister, the prime minister in Italy also with the Manal issue.
High level, the talks
it's gone, and to the extent that our prime minister has brought it up not once but many times with the visiting heads of states with the countries concerned. Now, the thing is that they are sovereign countries. They have their sovereign rights. We cannot issue a dictate to them. We can only explain our situation and request them that they should respect our right to identity,
and that's
our
what
human right to
as a
identity.
country we are doing continuously.
We are doing that continuously. I think we have progressed. Poland, I took it up when Mr. Tusk came, and they immediately were very sensitive and they helped out. Similarly, Italy has been reiterating and passing it down. It's unfortunate that it happens, but in every place now they have decided to have a separate room where you can go and take the turban off and retie it. So that is not done in public.
So we are going ahead with some kind of arrangement there.
And there's constant dialogue between the Ministry of Home of France and the community.
So lots happening there. We are going to take another very short break. We are coming back very shortly, so don't go away. Keep watching The Quest. You're watching The Quest on Rajya Sabha TV. We are talking to Mrs. Preneet Kaur in this show right now. Coming down to Punjab again, how do you see the politics there currently? I mean, of course, this news of infighting goes on, which is, of course, for the party a cause of concern.
I think infighting is in every party. But when the larger picture comes, everyone gets together. And I'm sure that when the time is there and the elections come, everyone will be there to support and bring the party in.
And how is the party dealing with the current ruling element there in terms of, what is on the plate, what is the agenda?
Well, we have very serious concerns in Punjab. First and foremost, there has been complete victimization, political victimization of the very junior and small party worker. Forget about the senior one. And which is very distressing, because that is actually taking away your democratic right. That is what we fought the British for, to get this democratic right. And at the moment, this is in danger, because there's a lot of thana politics that is going on. And our workers are naturally poorer workers. They're not so strong financially or physically. So it is really a politics of intimidation that is going on. There is no development at any level. The state is cash-strapped. I mean, we don't wish it to be that, because the future, we are here today, but our sons and daughters and grandchildren will all be living in the same state.
And so a state which is well known for its...
A state that has... A state
known as the store of
which is actually the granary of India. Exactly. And we are still producing that, despite all problems. And that is something that we really want the rest of the country to understand, and the center for which jointly everybody is asking for a
No, because
more
the second
MSP.
time there were expectations, and we know what the results finally became. So how really then all those vacuums could be filled now? where let's say the party could not strengthen itself and it had to be finally given to, once again, Akali
To
Dal.
the Akalis. Well, all I can say is that maybe they had better micromanagement.
So talking about social issues also, ma'am, how much do you devote your time to kind of look at problems, let's say problems of women in Punjab, education, employment, all these things?
I think I deal with nothing but problems in the constituency, because we appoint a person, whoever the elected representative is, for everybody who has a problem to come to. From personal, they're mainly personal small problems, to development problems, to, as you say, problems
For example, of
schools.
migration, the farmers who used to, let's for example, go to Bombay, but they of course would like to be there, do much more.
Well, at the moment, the biggest problem is the migration of the farmer to Gujarat. I mean, Lal Bahadur Shastri ji asked them to go there and settle at the border state. And they've settled there, they've done there. Now they're in great distress because for so many years they've tilled the land, they've got it going. That is in the blood of the Punjabi.
Yeah,
and
that
now
is a
they are
big
suddenly faced with eviction, which I think is very unfair. I don't think it's right, and I don't think that the Gujarat government should have done it. They've gone to court, they say it's sub judice, but this is something that only they can rectify.
So what are you actually voicing against there locally? What are the issues you feel strongly should come up? I mean, nationally we only hear, let's say, about issues which flare up, let's say for example in Parliament, all these big issues. But locally, how are you taking it all up?
Well, let me tell you, the local issues are really that the cities have become slums. There's no proper waste disposal. Drinking water is a problem. They have started this new thing of taxing colonies, which have actually, people have built houses where the plans have been passed. They may not have been regularized otherwise, but to put a penalty on them and backdate it from a long time, I don't think it's going to help, because the economic situation is not very good. It's a very burning issue at the moment. The other issue that we have, which is a problem at the moment, is the farmers who have put their everything, and the cash crop is rice. Due to the inclement weather, the moisture is too much. So that's another problem, and they are actually staging dharnas and things for it to be lifted. So some sort of solution, some sort of
path for them, or let's say
for them has to be done.
Yeah. So coming back to Parliament, ma'am, how much do you think women are contributing? Of course, the numbers are rising, and 15th Lok Sabha, a lot of women there in the House.
I think we are less than we were earlier.
Yeah, I'm reminded of, yes, exactly.
But I think women are very proactive. You must be seeing they are taking part in all the debates, they're doing well, and it's fine. We have fought and come ourselves.
How would you like to look back, ma'am? Because now that I'm talking to, I'm reminded of, let's say, somebody like Preneet Kaur. I mean, you know, these great women who were there and who saw everything shaping up, India's independence, and today also they're contributing. How would you look at women and how they should come up?
Well, we're very proud of the women that took part in the independence movement. And there also, through sheer merit, they came up, they struggled, they came up, they held very important ministries. I think Rajkumari Amrit Kaur had health.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there was Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, who was also a High Commissioner in London. There have been women throughout history who have been extraordinary. But now we would like the normal woman also to get into this. And I think knowledge is a great empowerer. You know, it makes you empowered. The greatest source of empowerment really is knowledge. And
very profound, very profound words coming from you. But as we wrap up the show, ma'am, what's your dream? What's the path that you would like to take up for yourself?
Well, I think now I'm entering the last quarter of my life. So, besides doing whatever I'm doing and hopefully get another shot at being in Parliament so that I can contribute a little bit more to my constituency. I started off really dealing with the public through social work, and I think that's something I'd like to go back to.
So thank you so much, ma'am, once again, and all the best for whatever you do.
Thank you so much.
And this was Mrs. Preneet Kaur talking to us in your program, The Quest. Keep watching The Quest, and namaskar. Bye-bye.